With all the talk in Washington, D.C. this Friday night about a possible national mask mandate, the Attorney General's office in Washington state is reportedly floating the idea of a vaccine mandate for the department's employees. Quoting the new draft policy here, the best way to ensure the safety is to implement a policy requiring all AGO employees and volunteers as a qualification of fitness for continued employment and all visitors to AGO facilities to be fully vaccinated. Let's bring in the reporter breaking the story, KTTH Seattle Talk Radio host Jason Rantz. Jason, great to see you.
Good to see you.
To the Washington Attorney General, you've obtained a draft of its vaccination policy, which says as a qualification of fitness for continued employment to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and provide proof thereof, the Human Resources Office shall develop a system for tracking which employees have and have not provided proof. What more do you know, Jason?
I know that a lot of people right now are upset, not only in the Attorney General's office, but across the state of Washington. There are a number of rumors, none of which the governor's office are denying that this is going to be a policy that doesn't just get implemented there at the Attorney General's office, but all across the departments. And so now what we're having here is the government mandating, as a condition of employment, getting a medical procedure done, essentially. Not everyone wants the vaccine. I believe people should get the vaccine in consultation with their doctor if they want it. And I think when we go down this road of mandating any kind of treatment or medicine or anything along those lines, I think you're jumping into some really dangerous waters. It is apparently legal according to the EEOC, but it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. I just hope the Vikings coach who just lost his job doesn't try to work here, because he's going to run into the exact same issue.
A spokesperson for Washington Governor Jay Inslee says, quote, the governor is not supportive of vaccine passports. That is not under consideration. Many people have tried to make it seem like employers verifying vaccination status to protect health and safety is a vaccine passport. This is incorrect. What about that?
Yeah, they are flatly being dishonest and disingenuous here. They can redefine vaccine passport all they want. This is a governor who encouraged businesses to deny service to folks who were not vaccinated. It's a governor who is allowing, or did allow, different venues to have vaccine-only sections. So I'm not entirely sure I understand then what a vaccine passport is if he is not accepting the actual definition of a vaccine passport. Here's something really simple for the governor to do. Governor Inslee, do you support the policy out of the Attorney General's office if this becomes the official policy? They refuse to answer that question. So answer that question. It'll be really, really clear.
All right. Next topic that you're in the middle of. From your story, Jason, leading Seattle mayoral candidate doesn't pay rent, allegedly owes $20K. The property management company says he initially offered some small payments, but his debt has since ballooned to $20,000, $20,828. What's the deal with Andrew Grant Houston?
So he is someone who has raised a lot of money off of our democracy vouchers program. This is the taxpayer-funded election system where we all have vouchers up to $100 that we can pass out to candidates of our choice who buy into the system. So he's raised the most out of any of the candidates, including the leading candidates in the polls. When he had a job, he chose to take advantage of the eviction moratorium here in Washington state, which does not mean you have to prove that you couldn't pay your rent due to some circumstances over COVID. So he just stopped paying his rent. And the apartment complex that he rents from is understandably upset.
Sure.
Landlords and property managers, they have bills to pay as well. And they're getting the raw end here. Now, Andrew Grant Houston is pretending that he is somehow a hero for taking this stand on behalf of different folks out there who are struggling. But if you are choosing not to pay rent when you have a job, and he had a job at the time,
right,
that's immoral. And this idea that he's running for mayor instead of now getting a job so he can pay back the money that is owed is also pretty weird, since he's not going to win. He's raising a ton of money, but he's not going to advance to the general. So all of this was to elevate his status, and I believe, this is an opinion, I think he's hoping that the state ends up just forgiving all of the rent that is owed on behalf of all these folks who stop paying. People are taking advantage of the system. It feels like he's one of them.
All right, we're almost out of time. Very briefly, maybe 15 seconds or so. How's this playing in the community?
His supporters love him for it. They think he is a hero because landlords are the devil, and of course, they're all 1%ers who really don't need the rent money. That's literally what some of these people are saying. They don't know what they're talking about.
Well, endless source of material for you. Jason Rantz, thanks very much.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.